No one in the stadium understood how the night could explode so violently, so instantly, before fans even settled into their seats. One moment, the lights shimmered over Hollywood like a red carpet premiere, and the next, the entire world seemed to stop as two of baseball's biggest superstars stepped into the spotlight with something dangerous in their eyes. It didn't feel like a first inning. It felt like the climax of a blockbuster movie. Before a single pitch was thrown, the atmosphere buzzed with something electric, something that didn't belong to a regular season game. The Yankees, the Dodgers, coast versus coast, legends versus legends. Every flashbulb popping like fireworks, every fan leaning forward as if the universe were holding its breath. And then Aaron Judge stepped into the box. You could hear the thump of his footsteps over the noise. You could feel the tremor in the ground, as though even the stadium understood who was standing there. His bat hovered behind him like a weapon forged for moments exactly like this. The pitcher nodded, delivered a single pitch, humming through the Hollywood lights like a comet. Judge didn't swing. He launched. The crack echoed across Los Angeles, bouncing off palm trees, ricocheting through the skyline, sending fans leaping to their feet as if struck by lightning. The ball didn't travel, it flew, rising higher and higher, disappearing into a sea of flashing lights and screaming voices. It was gone before the outfielders even turned. Judge didn't jog. He marched. Every step around the bases felt like a declaration. Tonight would not be ordinary. Tonight would not be quiet. Tonight, the stars came to fight. But the crowd barely finished celebrating when the energy shifted again. Because Shohei Ohtani was already stepping toward the plate. If Judge shook the stadium, Ohtani froze it. Cameras locked in. Fans held phones in trembling hands. Even the defenders stood a little straighter, as though bracing themselves for an earthquake. His expression was calm, too calm. The first pitch came in low. Ball 1. The second, high. Ball 2. And with each miss, the roar grew louder, feeding Ohtani, fueling him, pulling him deeper into a kind of supernatural focus that only he understood. Then came the pitch he wanted. A cutter, slightly inside, meant to jam him. It didn't. Ohtani turned on it so violently the sound didn't echo, it detonated. A sound you don't just hear, you feel. A shockwave that ripped across the stadium as the ball shot off his bat like a missile. Every fan rose at the same time. Every voice erupted in disbelief. The ball soared over the right field wall, crashing into the seats like it was destined to be there. Ohtani rounded first with the same expression Judge had worn moments earlier, calm, controlled, almost cinematic. In one inning, two superstars had turned Hollywood into the greatest stage baseball had ever seen. But the energy didn't stop. It intensified. Every pitch afterward felt bigger than the scoreboard. The rivalry morphed into a duel of personalities, of legends refusing to be overshadowed. It felt like watching superheroes trade blows, Judge with his thunder, Ohtani with his elegance, and every player around them fighting for their own slice of the spotlight. The Dodgers responded with fierce swings, refusing to let the Yankees steal the night. A line drive here, a stolen base there. Every moment felt like a spark landing on gasoline. The Yankees countered with their own fire. Defensive magic. Pinpoint pitching. Pressure so heavy it pushed the Dodgers into deep counts and deeper frustration. Every inning, tension wound tighter. Fans didn't blink. People across the world stopped scrolling, stopped eating, stopped breathing, locked into a game that didn't feel like a game at all. It felt like destiny unfolding in real time. The middle innings turned into a chess match. Fastballs whistled past bats. Curveballs dipped like falling stars. Sliders snapped with vicious intent. Pitchers on both sides fought to reclaim control of a night that seemed bigger than them. But nothing could eclipse the first inning. Nothing could wash away the echo of those two home runs that set the tone, lit the fuse, and carved this date into baseball history. Still, the game delivered twists. A diving catch in center that saved 2 runs. An unexpected bunt that stunned the infield. A pickoff attempt that nearly turned disastrous before snapping perfectly into the glove. The crowd lived and died with every pitch. It wasn't Yankees versus Dodgers anymore. It wasn't East versus West. It wasn't even baseball versus baseball. It was story versus story. Judge stepping up again later in the game felt like deja vu. The entire stadium braced themselves, half wanting another explosion, half praying it wouldn't be against them. The pitcher exhaled, wiped sweat from his forehead, and threw a pitch as if tossing his fate into the fire. Judge swung. Fans gasped. Foul. Just foul. Inches from rewriting the night all over again. Ohtani's next at bat carried a different sort of tension. Pitchers avoided him like he was radioactive, dancing around the zone, terrified of a repeat of the first inning. But Ohtani stayed patient, working counts, grinding at bats, proving that even without swinging, he could dominate. The game evolved into a masterpiece, tight, emotional, exhausting in the best way. When the late innings arrived, nobody sat. Nobody dared. The bright lights of Hollywood didn't shine on the players that night, the players outshined the lights. Every sound was amplified. Every heartbeat felt audible. Every pitch looked like the one that could tip the balance forever. And then, in the final moments, both teams pushed with every ounce of energy left inside them. Runners on base. Fans screaming. Managers pacing the dugout with the weight of the world in their eyes. Through all the noise, through all the chaos, the game returned to the two swings that shaped it. Judge's thunder. Ohtani's fire. Two giants standing tall in a city built for legends. As the final out snapped into the glove, the stadium exhaled for the first time in hours. Players stepped off the field drenched in sweat, adrenaline still burning through their veins. And somewhere in the crowd, a kid looked down at his glove, wondering if he had just witnessed the reason he fell in love with baseball. Because some games entertain, some games impress, but only a few change something inside you. This one did. A game where two superstars turned the first inning into history. A game where pressure became poetry. A game where baseball reminded the world why it's still the most cinematic drama ever played on dirt. And when fans walked out of the stadium, hearts pounding, voices gone, they all whispered the same thing. Hollywood didn't host the show tonight. It watched it.